welcome back, and it's time for today's tutorial. I am doing everything I can to get 31 tutorials up by the 31st. I know I've been sick. It keeps coming back. Poor Daniel, he got sick. We've just been having a rough week and a half as far as health goes, but I'm trying to get that everything done. It's gonna be a push. It might be more like they just all go up by Monday instead of the 31st, but I'm really trying to get them up by the 31st for you guys. I made that commitment to myself, and I really don't want to let myself down. Plus, I just love how much you guys seem to really be enjoying these looks. So you might be getting like 6 tutorials on the 31st, but you know, hey, then you just have a bunch of options for New Year's, right? Right. And also, guys, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm loving this background. I think it's so beautiful. I think it's great for tutorials, but I agree with you guys. I think when I'm doing more chit-chatty, maybe reviews, 5 product videos, just things like that, don't worry, the kitties and the bedroom will still be in the background. But I think this just gives such a great blank canvas for tutorials. So this might be like my tutorial background. I might have different sparkly backgrounds in the lights for any tutorial backgrounds, and then any of my review videos or anything like that where we're just kind of chit-chatting will probably be more of just my regular background. So that way we get a good mix, because I like seeing the kitties run around back there too. I see you guys' comments. So, but yeah, but I'm gonna stop rambling and let's talk about today's tutorial. Now, many of you might recognize this look if you've been with me for a while. I did a Fresh Fierce Fabulous a while ago, back when the Beauty Killer palette first came out, and this was the Fabulous look for from that palette. I took those tutorials down, or that video down and that review down, just for reasons that we all know. I just didn't want to support that company. Not a big deal. But I love that look so much that I wanted to recreate it. Plus, I think it is just so much fun, super glamorous, and I think such a fun twist on the cut crease. But today I created this look using the Urban Decay Book of Shadows, or Shadow Box. This is called the Shadow Box palette. Now, you can get this at Ulta on Urban Decay's website. Sometimes it goes on sale for $18, which is when I picked mine up, but it's usually around $30. Great little palette, stunning quality of eyeshadows. We used Indo today, we used Baked Cowboy, we used Moon Shadow, and then we also used that black shade. And it's just one of these like wonderful, underrated Urban Decay palettes that I think just has stunning quality of eyeshadow in there that nobody ever talks about. So I thought I would bring it out and just, you know, kind of showcase it today. But if you want to see how I got this very exaggerated drag inspired cat crease look, cat eye kind of look, then definitely stick around and we will see after the tutorial. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And what I'm doing is, since we're not putting down any foundation yet, I'm just gonna take a tiny little bit of concealer and just place that right. That's probably way more than I needed. Just on the eye, because we just want a nice clean blank canvas to work with. And I definitely got too much on there. I always forget how little product of this, or how little amount of this Shape Tape really goes a long way. I'm just gonna blend that out with a beauty blender. And now, just to make sure we've got a really clean line underneath the brow, I'm just taking my NYX Wonder Brow Pencil in light, and we're just gonna carve that out. And then we're gonna just blend it down with a concealer brush into the concealer. And I'm just gonna set this, you can set it with any powder you want. I'm just taking my NARS Pressed Crystal Powder on a BRC S03 brush, and I'm just going to, it's just a nice translucent powder, and it's just gonna set that concealer and primer. You gonna focus? There we go. I'm gonna learn about this camera, guys. I'm just gonna set that concealer just so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, guys, now I'm gonna go into the Urban Decay Box of Shadows, or this is called either Eyeshadow Beauty with an Edge eyeshadow palette, but I believe it's called the Box of Shadows. And we're gonna take a teeny tiny little precision brush, and we're gonna go into the shade Blackout. It's the only matte shade in the palette, and it is a great black eyeshadow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow that tape, and we're just gonna kind of create a shape similar to this. So it's kind of the opposite of what a cut crease would be. We're just kind of creating that cat eye exaggerated liner. This is all messy. We're gonna go back and fix that once we've got the foundation on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start creating the shape kind of in conjunction with the other side. And like I always say, guys, just like with a cut crease, take your time, find a shape that works, and go from there. And also, guys, just because we are going to be using the gold shadow on the inner corner, I don't want to take that black all the way in, even when tracing my shape, just because it's going to be harder to cover up. So I'm going to kind of fade that out, and then I'll go back in and fill it in with the gold. And I am taking this out past my wing, or past the tip of my eyebrow, not by much, but just barely, just because we do want a really, really exaggerated shape. All right, and then once we've got that shape basically where we want it, we're probably gonna take it up a little bit higher on the inner corner. And again, remember, you can always go back and fix that shape. I'm gonna go back in with that same brush, and we're gonna start filling in that black outer portion. And we're gonna take this to right about here and just make it as deep and dark and black as you want. All right, now I'm just gonna take a flat shader brush. This one is from Mash. Use any one that you want. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into this Moon Shadow shade right here, which is just a beautiful, sparkly, deep royal blue. This is, I really think, such an underrated palette for color lovers. I just think it's really good. It's a nice little accessories palette. Now, because I do really want these colors to pop, I'm gonna get the color on the brush, and I am going to then spray the brush down with my Make It Last setting spray from Milani. I've had some of you ask why I do it that way, or why I wet the brush. The reason, first of all, why I get the product on my brush and then wet it is to kind of preserve the integrity of the eyeshadow, because sometimes when you go into an eyeshadow with a wet brush, it can create hard pan, it can ruin the shadow, and this is just a way I have found doing it that's just as effective, that helps preserve my eyeshadow. But the reason why I like to wet my eyeshadows, especially when I have like a sparkly glittery shade, I don't ever do this with matte shades. It's like metallic shades, glittery shades, you know, sometimes even a more satiny shade. The reason why I do it is because it's going to kind of paint on almost like a pigment and give me the most opaque color that I can get out of the shadow. And that's why I wet my brush a lot when going into some of these sparkly shadows. You'll see me do it a lot, especially for any color going on the lid. And then once I do that, what I like to do is once I've got that color on, I'll flip the brush over to the dry side and pick up some of that same color dry, and then I'll just pat it over the color that I've applied wet, and that kind of sets it and adds to the opacity. So what we're doing here is we're just laying down this blue color. And if it fades out over here, that's fine. We want to take it up and really make sure we're covering up the black from the outline. And we're going to really fade that into the black shade. And if you need to, go back in with that little brush and kind of really reiterate the black. I want it to come over a little bit farther and really fade it into the blue. And this part, the fading in, the fading out, the adding color, it's just going to be it's going to be about what you prefer and what you think looks best on your eye. And you might, you know, take a step back, go back, you know, add some more color, fade some more in, fade some more out. It's just going to be about trial and error really with this part. All right, now that I've got that blue where I want it, I'm gonna go in with another flat shader brush, and we're gonna do the exact same steps with this Indo shade, which is a beautiful green. So I'm gonna pick up the color, wet my brush, apply it to the lid, go back in, apply it dry, and fade the colors all together. These colors are so beautiful. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do green and blue, or, blue and gold or green and gold, so I just decided to do all three. Again, I'm going back in with that color dry just to really add some opacity to the color. And then how I like to transition my shades is I like to just kind of pat whatever brush I'm using on the transition, like where those colors meet. I like to pat it and then wiggle it back and forth. That's just what works for me. And I'm going to go back in with that brush that had the blue shade and do the same thing. And this just helps me to ensure that I get a really, really nice, smooth transition. All right, guys, now we're gonna go in and repeat that step again for the last color in the palette. And for this shade, for the inner corner, we're using Baked Cowboy. And I'm just taking a very small, since it's the inner corner, taking a smaller precision, this is a BH Cosmetics concealer brush, but I love using these types of brushes for lid work. Again, I'm spraying that down. And then I'm just going to paint that on the inner corner and fade it into the green. I'm going to take this around the inner tear duct as well. And again, I'm going to go back in with that color dry and really pack it on. All right, now, and looking at the eyes together, this side is, the crease is a little bit lower than this side, so I'm gonna just slowly work it up with that little detailed brush. I'm just gonna go into the blue and the green and really work on kind of exaggerating that shape until I get it to match the way I want. Okay, I've got that shape right about where I want it. So now I'm just gonna go back in and do the pat and wiggle and blend that green and gold together. All right, now I'm just gonna go in and reiterate the lash line with my Jordana Cat Eyeliner in Black Leather. And I am just gonna create just a little bit of wing just to fade it into what we've already got going on. I wanna keep this relatively thin because this is just gonna be enough for us to blend in the lash line or the band of our lashes. We don't want it to overtake the look. All right, once we've got that eyeliner on, we're gonna go in with our Milani Liquif'Eye's liquid-like eyeliner pencil in black and just tightline and work on our lower lash line. All right, and now just to set that eyeliner, I'm gonna take my BRC S01 and we're gonna go back in. Oh, I just took my finger in that shadow. We're gonna go back into that blackout shade and we're gonna set that liner and start smoking out the lower lash line. And I still got that tape on, because it just acts as a great guide. And then I'm just gonna take a very teeny tiny little smudgy brush and I'm gonna go into Indo. And I'm gonna take that under my entire lower lash line. And then I'm gonna take that tape off. You see what a nice clean line we get there. And then once we've removed that tape, I'm gonna go back into Moon Shadow and we're gonna run that on the outer portion of the lower lash line. Just to kind of give us an idea of how far down we're gonna smoke that shadow. So we are gonna go back in and do our foundation, because obviously we're not gonna leave it like this. I'm just taking a baby wipe, guys, kind of cleaning up any of that messy fallout. Apparently I was a savage today. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and throw on my mascara. I'm just gonna use my Pure Fully Charged today. And I'm just gonna do the upper lashes for now, and I'm gonna throw on my Cherry Blossom 119s. I'm gonna do my foundation, concealer, clean this up, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have applied my lashes. The glue is still drying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with that little brush. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that Indo shade, that green shade right there. And again, just go back in and kind of reiterate and smoke out what we lost. In frame, Heather, in frame. Guys, I'm so sorry. Here, let me try that again. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of that moon shadow, that blue shadow on the same brush, and just layer it over the outer corner. All right, guys, so we can definitely leave that how it is if we want, but I do want to soften it up a little bit. So I'm just going to take this vanilla shade from Makeup Forever on a BRC S06 brush, and I'm just going to kind of soften that up and get rid of any harsh lines. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still a pretty dramatic look. All right, and then just to finish off the eyes, I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara and coat my lower lashes. All right, we're going to zoom out and do the rest of the face. All right, guys, so first off, what I want to do is go in with my MAC Sculpting Powder in Sculpt on a BRC S25 brush. I'm gonna take this up around the temples. Also gonna take this underneath my chin. I want to do a very kind of non-assuming blush today, so I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild color Icon in Apricot in the middle, which is just a really pretty soft apricot color. Just enough to just give my face some life. Alright guys, you know what's coming, but we're going into the Ambient Lighting Powder palette. And we're just going to set everything, finish everything off. Alright guys, for highlight today, I'm just going to go into my Becca Moonstone highlight, or Shimmering Skin Perfector. And for lips today, I'm going to use one of my all-time favorite liquid lipstick colors. This is the shade Muse from BH Cosmetics. Alright guys, and that's the finished look. Alright everybody, so this is the finished look using the Urban Decay Shadow Box. Again, a great little palette. The packaging is stunning on it. The price point's fantastic. And I've got to say, the quality of the eyeshadows is overall just a great, great palette. And just, you can create some super fun looks with this. So if you have this sitting in your collection, pull it out. Let's play around. That sounds so wrong. Take it out and let's play around with the eyeshadows, let's put it that way. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this look, this kind of, you know, we took the cut crease and kind of flipped it on its head, and instead of focusing on that negative space between the crease and the lash line, we're really having some fun on the lid and just having a very clean crease up. So it's definitely a fun look. I think it's really just a gorgeous dramatic look, and with a little bit of tape and some patience you can do wonders. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look. Again, be looking out for all those tutorials that are going to be coming your way. But as always guys, thank you so much for all of your positive just comments and you know, just inquiries into how I've been doing and my Christmas and everything. I hope you guys have had an amazing holiday. But yeah guys, that's it. I just thank you as always for hanging out, talking about makeup with me. Again, be looking for all those tutorials coming your way. There's gonna be a bunch of them. But as always guys, have an amazing day, have a rocking week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.